Discovered my wife's group chat where she and her friends laughed about her sleeping with 8+ men while I endured 2 years no-sex marriage. Then I got sweet revenge by exposing her at her mom's 60th birthday dinner and ruining her life forever. Throw away for obvious reasons. Sorry for the long post, but I need to get this off my chest. I, 34M, have been married to my wife, 32F, for 6 years. For the first 4 years, we had what I thought was a beautiful marriage: weekly date nights where we'd dress up and try new restaurants, vacations to places we'd both dreamed of visiting, and a healthy, passionate sex life that made me feel like the luckiest man alive. We both have good jobs. I'm an engineer, she's in marketing, no kids yet. That was the plan for this year, and bought our dream house together 3 years ago, a beautiful colonial with a backyard I've been landscaping myself. But about 2 years ago, things started to change in the bedroom. At first, it was just I'm tired from work or I have a headache. Being the understanding husband I thought I was, I didn't push it. Her job as a marketing executive is demanding. She'd come home with bags under her eyes, her shoulders slumped, looking genuinely exhausted. I would make her chamomile tea with honey just how she likes it, massage her temples and shoulders until she practically purred, and tell her to rest while I handled dinner and cleaned up. I wanted to be her safe harbor from the stress of her day. I never complained or made her feel guilty. I thought that's what love was. A month went by. Then 2. Then 3. Every time I tried to initiate, there was a new, increasingly elaborate excuse. I'm on my period and it's really bad this time. The cramps are shooting down my legs, and I feel like my uterus is trying to claw its way out of my body. I bought her heating pads, made her special teas, and researched natural remedies for her symptoms. I'm not feeling well. I think I might have caught that stomach bug that's going around the office. 3 people on my team called out sick yesterday. I'm nauseous and my body aches all over. I would immediately switch into caretaker mode, making her chicken soup from scratch, bringing her crackers and ginger ale. I'm stressed about the project deadline. The client keeps changing their mind about what they want, and my boss is breathing down my neck. I pulled a muscle at the gym when I was doing squats with my new trainer. It hurts all the way from my lower back down to my thigh. The trainer says I should avoid any strenuous activity for at least 2 weeks. I bought special orthopedic pillows, muscle rubs, and even set up massage appointments for her. Being the loving husband I thought I was, I respected her space every single time. I suggested therapy, both individual and couples. I even found therapists who specialized in sexual desire discrepancies, made a list of their credentials, and presented it to her like a research project to make it easy. She always had an excuse to avoid it. We don't need therapy, it's just a phase, she'd say, or therapists just take your money to tell you what you already know. I started working out more, thinking maybe she wasn't attracted to me physically anymore. I joined a gym, hired a personal trainer, and lost 15 pounds of fat while gaining muscle definition I hadn't had since college. I bought new clothes that fit my improved physique, got a modern haircut, started using fancy skincare products she had mentioned liking on other men. I cooked romantic dinners with recipes I spent hours perfecting, planned surprise dates to recreate our favorite memories, bought thoughtful gifts that referenced inside jokes between us, anything to spark that flame again. Nothing worked. Around this time, something unexpected happened at work. There's this woman in the accounting department, let's call her Emma. I'd always been friendly with her, but we were just work acquaintances who occasionally chatted in the break room. After I started working out and taking better care of myself, I noticed a shift in how she interacted with me. She started finding reasons to come to my department, bringing me coffee just because, laughing at all my jokes, and touching my arm when we talked. One day, Emma asked if I wanted to grab lunch. We had a great time. She was funny, smart, and engaged with everything I said. She actually listened to me, something I realized my wife hadn't done in months. As we were walking back to the office, she said, "You know, if you weren't married, I would have asked you out by now." Then she blushed and quickly added, "Sorry, that was inappropriate." I was floored. Here was this beautiful, intelligent woman basically telling me she was interested in me, while at home my own wife couldn't bear the thought of being intimate with me. For a brief moment, I imagined what it would be like to be with someone who actually wanted me. The temptation was real. But I didn't act on it. Instead, I thanked her for the compliment but told her I was committed to my marriage. I started avoiding one-on-one situations with Emma after that, even though part of me desperately craved that feeling of being desired again. My wedding vows meant something to me, even if they apparently meant nothing to my wife. The irony wasn't lost on me later. I was turning down a woman who actually wanted me, staying faithful to a wife who was sleeping with half the city behind my back. Emma eventually got the message and kept our interactions purely professional, although I sometimes caught her looking at me with what could only be described as regret. I read relationship books, I bought toys, lingerie, asking her friend for her size so it would be a surprise, scented candles, silk sheets. Our closet was full of unopened Amazon packages of items that were supposed to spice up our non-existent sex life. I even wondered if I had done something wrong or if she wasn't attracted to me anymore. Those thoughts kept me up at night, lying next to her sleeping form, afraid to even reach out and touch her for fear of rejection. The constant rejection had created a deep well of insecurity in me that was starting to affect other areas of my life. When I finally got the courage to ask her directly, my voice breaking with emotion, she assured me everything was fine, she just wasn't feeling sexy these days. "It's not you," she'd say, stroking my cheek tenderly, "I love you more than ever. I'm just going through something. It'll pass." And like a fool, I believed her. 2 years of this. 2 fucking years of being rejected, sleeping on my side of the bed, jerking off in the shower like a teenager. 2 years of making excuses to my friends when they joked about married sex life. 2 years of watching her get dressed and undressed without ever reaching for me. 2 years of goodnight packs drier than the Sahara. 2 years of wondering what the hell was wrong with me that my own wife didn't want me anymore. Then, about 3 months ago, something weird happened. Her laptop broke. She said she spilled coffee on it during a morning meeting and she asked to use mine for a work emergency. I said sure, no problem, happy to help. She used it all afternoon while I was mowing the lawn and doing chores around the house. I remember whistling while I worked, foolishly happy that I could do something useful for her, pathetically grateful for the smile she gave me when I brought her iced tea while she worked. That evening, I opened my laptop to check my email and noticed she was still logged into her Facebook Messenger. I was about to log her out when I saw a group chat named Girls Night Tea with a bunch of unread messages. I know I shouldn't have looked, but something in my gut told me to. Maybe it was the accumulation of all those months of suspicion, or maybe it was divine intervention. Whatever it was, I clicked on the chat. What I found made me physically sick. I mean literally, I ran to the bathroom and threw up until there was nothing left but bile. The chat was between my wife and her 5 closest friends, women who had been to our home for dinner, women who had hugged me and brought gifts on my birthday, women who had looked me in the eye while knowing what was happening. They were discussing their exploits from the night before in graphic, explicit detail. At first, I thought maybe they were talking about a movie or some kind of role-playing game or something, but then I saw my wife's message. "Chad was amazing last night. His dick was so big I could barely walk straight today. Told hubby I pulled a muscle at the gym, lol. He even offered to massage the pulled muscle if only he knew what was really making me sore. Chad fucked me in ways hubby never could. When he pulled my hair and called me his dirty slut, I came so hard I saw stars. Already planning round 2 for next week. My hands were shaking so badly I could barely scroll, but I forced myself to keep reading. I scrolled up through the chat history. Thousands of messages going back, you guessed it, about 2 years. My wife hadn't been too tired for sex. She'd been fucking other guys. Lots of other guys. Mike from accounting bent me over his desk after hours yesterday. We almost got caught by the cleaning lady. The thrill made me come twice. When I got home, hubby had made me dinner and asked how my late meeting went. If he only knew I had Mike's cum still inside me while we ate his pot roast. The bartender at the watering hole took me home and made me scream all night. His roommate even joined in for round 2. 2 guys at once, checked that off my bucket list. Told hubby I was at a marketing seminar and might be unreachable. He just said, "I hope you learn a lot." Oh, I learned a lot alright. That personal trainer at the gym has stamina for days. We did it in the handicap shower stall after closing. He lifted me against the wall like I weighed nothing. My legs are still trembling. Hubby noticed I was walking funny and got all concerned, made me an ice pack for my workout injury. If he only knew what kind of workout I really had. And her friends would cheer her on. Get it, girl? You deserve to have some real fun after being stuck with Mr. Boring for so long. Sounds like you're having more fun than any of us. Details. Was he circumcised? How many times did you come? Better than your boring husband, right? Does Chad have any friends for the rest of us? To which my wife would reply, hubby thinks I'm at girls' night again. If only he knew what I was actually eating. Speaking of which, I gave Chad the best BJ of his life tonight. He said his ex-wife would never go down on him like I do. Guess what I told hubby? That I was helping Jessica with her breakup. He actually thanked me for being such a good friend to her. Sometimes I almost feel bad for how clueless he is, but then I remember how boring sex with him was. As I read through the messages, I suddenly remembered Emma from work. The woman who had shown genuine interest in me. The woman I had turned down out of loyalty to my cheating wife. The woman who would never have treated me like this. I felt like the biggest fool on the planet. Here I was, rejecting a chance at something real with someone who actually wanted me, while my wife was out there turning our marriage vows into a joke. I found detailed descriptions of sex acts with at least 8 different men over the past 2 years. Meeting them at hotels, charging the rooms to our joint credit card, their apartments, even having sex in the back of some guy's car in the parking lot of the restaurant where I was waiting inside for her, thinking she was taking a work call. All while telling me she wasn't interested in sex because of headaches, stress, and pulled muscles. The worst part was how they mocked me. How they laughed at my concern, my patience, my understanding. How they turned every act of love and care I had shown her into a joke. Reading those messages, I realized I didn't just lose my wife, I lost my dignity, my self-respect, and 2 years of my life that I can never get back. I was devastated. I couldn't eat, couldn't sleep. I'd go to work and stare at my computer screen for hours without typing a single line of code. I lost 10 pounds in a week. Emma noticed the change in me and asked if everything was okay. I nearly broke down right there in the break room. Instead, I just said I was going through some personal stuff. She squeezed my hand and said, "If you ever need someone to talk to, I'm here." The kindness in her eyes made everything hurt even more. But I didn't confront my wife immediately. I needed time to process this betrayal and figure out what to do. I took screenshots of everything as evidence, then logged her out and cleared the browser history, so she wouldn't know I had seen anything. For the next few weeks, I lived a double life, the loving, clueless husband on the outside, but a detective gathering evidence on the inside. I started checking our shared phone plan and found hundreds of texts to numbers I didn't recognize, at all hours of the night. I looked at our credit card statements and found charges for hotels on nights she said she was working late or with the girls. I even found receipts for lingerie I had never seen her wear and restaurant bills for places we had never gone together. The final nail in the coffin? One of her messages in the group chat, "None of these guys compare to Carlos though. He's Latino and has the stamina of a racehorse. I'm completely addicted to him. Going to see him again tomorrow night. Telling hubby I'm visiting my sister. Carlos says he wants to try anal next time, finally a man who knows what he wants and takes it." Her sister lives 3 hours away. She'd supposedly been visiting her at least twice a month for the past year. I checked our credit card statements, there were hotel charges in our own city on those same nights. Not even in the direction of her sister's house. She wasn't even trying to be careful. During these weeks of investigation, she continued to reject me sexually while sneaking around with these men. One night, I tried to kiss her neck while she was reading in bed, and she pushed me away saying she had a migraine so bad she could barely see straight. 20 minutes after she thought I was asleep, I watched her through barely open eyes as she slipped out of bed, put on makeup and a dress I had never seen, and quietly left the house. I followed her to a hotel 10 minutes away where she met a tall, dark-haired man in the lobby. They were all over each other in the elevator before the doors even closed. The next day at work, I ran into Emma in the parking lot. She smiled that warm smile of hers and asked how I was doing. Something in me broke, and before I knew it, I was telling her everything. We sat in her car for 2 hours while I poured my heart out. She listened without judgment, occasionally reaching out to squeeze my hand in support. When I finally finished my story, she looked at me with tears in her eyes and said, "You didn't deserve any of this. You deserve someone who sees your worth." For the first time in months, I felt seen. Really seen. Not as the clueless husband or the convenient caretaker, but as a man worthy of love and respect. In that moment, I knew what I had to do. Here's where I might be the asshole. Last week was my mother-in-law's 60th birthday party. The whole family was there, her parents, who had always treated me like a son, her siblings, including the sister she supposedly visited so often, cousins, our mutual friends, about 40 people total. My wife had been acting nervous around me all day, probably because she was planning to meet Carlos later that night. I had seen texts on her phone while she was in the shower, arranging their rendezvous. During dinner, when everyone was seated in the private room at her mother's favorite restaurant, I clinked my glass with my fork and stood up. My wife smiled at me encouragingly, probably thinking I was about to make a loving toast to her mother, talking about what a wonderful woman she was and how grateful I was to be part of the family. Everyone quieted down and looked at me expectantly. Instead, I said, "I'd like to make an announcement. After 2 years of a sexless marriage where my wife has rejected me countless times claiming headaches, fatigue, stress, period pains, muscle injuries, emotional distress, medication side effects, early perimenopause, body insecurities, and every other excuse imaginable, I've decided I'd like an open relationship." The room went dead silent. My wife's face turned white as a sheet. Her mother's smile froze in place. Her father stopped mid-chew. I could feel my heart pounding, but now that I had started, I couldn't stop. 2 years of pain and humiliation came pouring out of me. I continued, "Since my wife has been sleeping with Chad from the gym, Mike from accounting, the bartender from the watering hole, her personal trainer, random men she meets at bars, and her special favorite Carlos for the past 2 years, I figure it's only fair that I get the same opportunity. After all, equality is important in a marriage, isn't that right, honey?" I looked directly at her as I said the last part. Her mother gasped so loudly it sounded like she was choking. Her father's jaw dropped, a piece of steak falling back to his plate. Her sister looked confused as hell. Clearly, my wife had never been visiting her on all those weekends she was supposedly having sister time. I wasn't done. I pulled out my phone and said, "I have screenshots of all her conversations with her friends describing in explicit detail her sexual encounters with these men. I know about the threesome with the bartender and his roommate. I know about the time she let Chad fuck her in our bed while I was on a business trip. I know about the blowjob she gave Carlos in his car while I was inside the restaurant waiting for her, thinking she was taking a work call. I have hotel receipts for rooms she charged to our joint credit card. I have evidence of her texting these men hundreds of times, arranging meetups while telling me she was working late or helping friends through breakups or visiting her sister." I looked at her sister. "Speaking of which, when was the last time you actually saw your sister for one of these weekend visits? Because according to our credit card, she was at the Hilton downtown with Carlos while supposedly at your place." Her sister's eyes widened in shock. "She hasn't stayed overnight at my place in over a year," she said quietly. I turned back to the table. "So, I'm not asking for permission to have an open relationship. I'm informing everyone that apparently, we've had one for 2 years already. I just wasn't aware of it while I was making her tea for her fake headaches and massaging her non-existent pulled muscles. I was turning down advances from a wonderful woman at work who was actually interested in me, staying loyal to a wife who laughed about my devotion behind my back with her friends." My wife jumped up screaming, "It's not what it looks like. My friends made me do it. They pressured me. I was in a dark place and they took advantage of me. And he's been cheating too. I found texts on his phone." Nobody believed her pathetic lies, especially since her sister immediately said, "What do you mean you've been visiting me? I haven't seen you in months except for holidays. Why would you lie about that?" Her mother started crying, mascara running down her face. Her father wouldn't look at her, his knuckles white around his fork and knife. Our mutual friends were whispering among themselves, clearly shocked by the revelations. Some of them looked guilty. I realized they probably knew what was happening and never told me. I finished by saying, "I've already contacted a divorce lawyer." You'll be served papers next week. And since I have evidence of your infidelity and the fact that you've been spending our joint money on hotel rooms to fuck other men, don't expect to get much in the settlement. Oh, and you might want to get tested for STDs. Who knows what you might have caught from all those unprotected adventures you bragged about to your friends. I then turned to her parents and said, I'm sorry to ruin your birthday celebration, but I thought you should know who your daughter really is. You welcomed me into your family and treated me like a son for the past 6 years. You deserve to know the truth about why I won't be at family gatherings anymore. I truly wish things had turned out differently. Then I placed money on the table for my portion of the meal, picked up my coat, and walked out with my head held high for the first time in 2 years. Behind me, I could hear chaos erupting, her mother sobbing, her father's raised voice asking is this true, her own hysterical denials. But I didn't look back. I had spent 2 years looking back, wondering what I had done wrong, how I could fix it. Now I was looking forward. That was a week ago. Since then, my phone has been blowing up with messages from her family and friends. Most of them are supportive of me, saying they had no idea and that they're shocked and disgusted by her behavior. Her father called to tell me he still considers me a son and that he's deeply ashamed of his daughter. Even some of her friends have reached out to apologize for their role in covering up her affairs. But some people are saying I was cruel to expose her so publicly, that I should have confronted her privately and handled the divorce with dignity. Her mother, despite everything, thinks I went too far by humiliating her daughter in front of the entire family. My wife has been staying with a friend, not one from the infamous group chat. They've apparently all abandoned her, and has called me crying numerous times, begging for another chance. She claims she made a mistake and lost herself but has now realized I was the best thing that ever happened to her. She promises to go to therapy, to be transparent, to spend the rest of her life making it up to me. Too little, too late. I also found out that she got fired from her job. Apparently, one of our mutual friends works with Mike from accounting and reported their affair to HR, which violates company policy. So now she has no husband, strained family relationships, fewer friends, and no job. I would feel bad for her if I had any feelings left for her at all. The divorce papers have been served. Because of the evidence I have, my lawyer says I'll likely keep the house and most of our assets. I've already changed the locks and packed up her things, which are waiting in the garage for her to collect. I feel like I'm finally waking up from a 2-year nightmare. I'm sleeping better, eating again, and even went on a date last night with Emma. After everything settled down, she asked me out for coffee. It was just a casual date, and we're taking things extremely slowly, but for the first time in years, I felt that spark of connection with someone who genuinely respects me. She knows I'm not ready for anything serious yet, but she says she's willing to wait until I've healed. Just having someone look at me like I'm worth waiting for is the most incredible feeling. So, AITA for asking my wife for an open relationship as a way to publicly expose her cheating in front of her entire family? Edit, holy shit, this blew up overnight. Thanks for all the awards and support. Reading your comments has been therapeutic. Edit 2, to answer some common questions. No, we didn't have kids, thankfully. And yes, I got tested for STDs right away, all clear, thank God. As for the friends who knew and said nothing, I've cut them all out of my life completely. Edit 3, some people are asking if this is fake. I wish it was. I wouldn't waste time making up something this painful. Living through it was bad enough. Edit 4, for those asking about Emma, yes, we're still seeing each other casually. She's been incredibly patient and understanding about everything I'm going through. She doesn't push for more than I can give right now, and that alone shows me she's nothing like my ex. Edit 5, my ex-wife showed up at the house drunk last night, crying and begging to be let in. I called her sister to come get her. Even after everything, I couldn't just leave her out there in that state. Her sister told me their parents are making her go to therapy as a condition of letting her move back home. Not my circus, not my monkeys anymore.